very good evening and welcome aboard Newsline Airways tonight. I am Claire Adilabu Abdul Razak, your captain for tonight's flight through the stories that make Nigeria. Now, today we open a fresh page in the book of our collective journey. Now, just 3 days and Nigeria will be 65. And what a profound Sunday it was today, following an inspiring interdenominational church service that reminded us of the precious oil upon the head running down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard that ran down to the skirts of his garments. Our flight tonight will take us to Alu Dam, where a year ago fury struck, leaving untold devastation in its wake. But today, a different story is emerging, and it's a story of courage, resilience, and determination. Then curiosity takes the wheel as Beatrice Ayim meets the blindfolded Lady Justicia, sparking questions we all secretly want answered. What is the story behind that iconic image of a woman? We will also make a stopover in Ibadan, so sure, where history whispers, tradition speaks, and Yoruba coronation unfolds in all its grandeur. But that's not all. So fasten your seatbelts, stow your tray tables, and prepare, because the first story is taxiing to the runway right after the news headlines. The federal government condemns and refutes recent allegations by certain international platforms and online influencers suggesting that terrorists operating in Nigeria are engaged in a systematic genocide against Christians, stressing that such claims are false, baseless, and despicable and divisive. Federal government says portraying Nigeria's security challenges as a targeted campaign against a single religious group is a gross misrepresentation of reality, as Muslims, Christians, and those who do not identify with any religion have suffered at their hands. Between May 2023 and February 2025 alone, over 13,543 terrorists and criminals were neutralized and nearly 10,000 hostages rescued in multiple military operations across the country. It will be recalled that last month, the top leadership of the Jama'atu Ansaru Muslimina fi Biladis Sudan, commonly known as Ansaru, Nigeria's Al-Qaeda affiliate, was captured in a well-coordinated counter-terrorism operation. The federal government says it will continue to degrade terrorist groups and protect lives and property. In another development story, the federal government has secured enhanced funding commitment from the African Development Bank to operationalize the second phase of the special agro-industrial processing zones. Vice President Kashim Shettima made the request in New York during a bilateral meeting with AFDB's president, Dr. Sidi Ould Tah, on the sidelines of the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly. SEDA's correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
The Special Agro-Processing Zone Phase 2 expected to scale up climate-resilient infrastructure and inclusive agro-industrial growth across an additional 24 states, expanding from initial 8 states and the FCT, aimed at diversifying Nigeria's mono-product economy to value-added agricultural exports.
The bank's support for innovation-driven enterprises.
Justifying the country's request, Vice President Kashim Shettima said Nigeria is the largest shareholder in Africa Development Bank, and its portfolio hovers in the neighborhood of $10 billion.
Our dream is to make tomorrow much better than today for our youth. We have no business being in business. The government has no business being in business. Our duty is to create the enabling environment, the infrastructure. The duty of the private sector is to provide the capital, the innovations, and the market linkages. and our youth, who constitute the bulk of our population. It might interest you, Your Excellency, to know that the average age of the Nigerian nation is 16.9. And by 2050, we'll surpass the United States, will be the third most populous nation on earth. So that goes to show the potentials of the Nigerian nation and the need for us to really act very fast.
We need to work with, I am planning to have a series of consultations with banks and the DFIs and guarantee funds to make sure that we will work as a coherent system of financial institution contributing together to delivering on the mandate of African development.
AFDB's president assured that under his leadership, the bank will spare no effort to provide Nigeria with the support it deserves in terms of developing its human capital. Earlier, Vice President Kashim Shettima held a bilateral meeting with the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. Terence Drew, where they recommitted to strengthening economic and cultural ties.
Going forward, we should have a robust engagement and understanding. We should stand by each other. We should stand for one another. We should stand on each other's interests.
We think that this kind of communication and easy access to both countries can actually help significantly with the movement of people, which we already have, and can help to further trade between the countries.
He further recalled that President Tinubu was in St. Lucia earlier in the year as part of his broader package of reaching out to Caribbean Africans in the diaspora. The Prime Minister decried the low level of trade and contact between Caribbean countries and Africa, expressed the country's readiness to work closely with Nigeria to boost trade on the African continent. From New York, Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Vice President Kashim Shettima has departed New York, United States, after successfully representing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly. During his participation there, Vice President Shettima secured UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres' commendation for Nigeria's bid for a permanent UN Security Council seat. He also showcased Nigeria's $200 billion energy transition opportunity to global investors and strengthened strategic partnership with the UK on trade, defense and migration issues. The Vice President delivered President Tinubu's national statement calling for UN reforms and a permanent seat for Nigeria at the UN Security Council, even as he demanded Africa's control over its $700 billion mineral wealth and digital inclusion initiatives. He also engaged with the Gates Foundation in healthcare and education expansion, positioning Nigeria as the natural hub for the African Continental Free Trade Area's $3.4 trillion market. Vice President Shettima was seen off at John F. Kennedy International Airport, New York, by cabinet members who were part of the UNGA 80 delegation and Nigeria mission officials. He will return to Nigeria immediately after an engagement in Germany. And messages of hope, love, and tolerance resonated at the 65th Independence Anniversary Interdenominational Church Service held in Abuja today. President Bola Tinubu at the occasion called on Nigerians to support the dreams and visions of the country's founding fathers who laid the foundation of the nation. The president was represented by the President of the Senate, Omenka Amarachukwu, completes the report.
The hymn, Blessed Be the Tie That Binds, marks the beginning of the interdenominational church service as Nigerians gathered at National Christian Center Abuja to celebrate the nation at 65. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, reassured citizens of Nigeria's steady move towards desired development, emphasizing the need for collective efforts towards achieving a better Nigeria.
We shall move hand in hand and not in ruins, but a fortress we shall pass to future generations. We must always cooperate, executive and the National Assembly, for the benefit of our people, for the prosperity of our people.
In his message at the service, PFN President Bishop Francis Wole Oke applauded the unity of the nation so far, despite many challenges.
Let the insurgents lay down their arms.
Now we're into building. President is working that everybody's construction. Nigerians are understanding that it's not easy because it's difficult for everybody, but that we're all victims and that together.
Prayers were offered for the continued coexistence among Nigerians. In Abuja, Umenka Mrachuku, NTA News.
Now, the many years of mutual relationship between the people of Plateau State and His Royal Highness King Apollo Cho Dionenchia X was sealed over the weekend at a grand ceremony. The Plateau State Indigenous Cultural Association, River State Branch, conferred the honor of patron of the association and King Apollo Cho in the presence of dignitaries who graced their cultural day held in Port Harcourt. Ijoma Ugweke was there.
These are the indigenous people of Beron, Tarok, Bokos, Bongom, Angas, among other natives of Plateau State. They are not on the plateau, but in River State. The people are not only displaying their rich cultural heritage, but appreciative of the support from His Royal Highness King Apollo Cho, who has been a pillar of strength to the Plateau indigenes in River State for many years. The day had ample representatives from the state and national assemblies, former Minister of Foreign Affairs, Plateau and River State government officials, and Chief Judge of Plateau State. They saw the unwavering commitment of King Apollo Cho to the unity of the country and service to humanity, which formed the reason for his choice by Plateau people to be their patron in River State.
Your Majesty's acceptance of this role demonstrates your commitment to cultural preservation and unity among our people.
This king is beyond rivers. Is well recognized. Your Majesty, we thank you very much for all that you have done for Plateau people in this state.
The representative of the Chairman, Traditional Council, Plateau State, Bongom Jos, while presenting to King Apollo Cho Onenchia X with the certificate as the patron of the Plateau State Indigenous Cultural Association, River State Chapter, described King Apollo Cho as a king whose philanthropic gestures knew no bounds.
The patron.
King Apollo Cho reaffirms his commitment to upholding the things that unite Nigeria as a country, despite the difference in culture and religion, and pledged his continued support to the projects and programs of the association.
We are a leader of a people, so that just like extending a course of more other ethnic nationality to join on my kingdom, my existing responsibility to play fatherly role to them. Nigeria is one. Despite where you are coming from, you should be assured that you can stay in River State with peace.
The Plateau State Indigenous Cultural Association River State came into existence in 1990 with a commitment to support one another. In Port Harcourt, Ijomu Gweke, NTA News.
Now, following reports of mine pit collapse in Kadauri Village, Maru local government area of Zamfara State, the federal government, through the Ministry of Solid Minerals Development, deployed federal mine officers in the state to lead rescue operations. Now, a statement from the Ministry of Solid Minerals Development indicates that the collapse, triggered by heavy rainfall and unlawful activities of illegal miners, trapped 15 mine workers. 13 of them have been recovered. Unfortunately, no survival. Efforts are still on to recover the remaining 2 still trapped in the rubble. Reacting to the incident, the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Delia Laki, describes the loss of lives as both avoidable and unfortunate. He stressed that relevant departments of the ministry have been mobilized to aid rescue operations and unearth the circumstances leading to the incident. Today is World News Day, set aside to highlight the importance of fact-based journalism and promote the value of credible news reporting. Now, this global awareness campaign aims to amplify the value of journalism, thereby emphasizing the crucial role journalists play in providing trustworthy news and information that serve citizens and democracy.
Newsday serves as a reminder of the power of information from local to international communities. It is a global initiative that highlights the vital role of fact-based journalism in society, emphasizing the importance of quality journalism in promoting transparency, accountability, and democracy.
A journalist would forever be married to factuality, fairness, accuracy, objectivity, and balance. Those are the parameters that drive his work. We should never ever confuse journalism with public service. But then I quickly need to say that you are a journalist does not mean that you should no longer pay heed to what we call national interest. Somebody asked somebody the other time, so you pursue facts, you want to expose them the way they are. What if you go to cover violence somewhere, and when you return to the newsroom, the news you put out leads to violence times 3? Would you have done a good job of journalism? So there is the need for you to also balance the interests of society when you do your work.
The day also promotes media literacy and defends press freedom through advocacy for journalists' rights to report freely and safely, particularly in times of conflicts or crisis. It further underscores the global commitment to open and reliable communications. Amina Baba Suleiman, NTA News.
True. National interest takes precedence. All right, let's peep into the world of sports. And Bade, I'm wondering how you can still put up a smile tonight, considering that United did not just lose over the weekend, it also dragged all the big names, except Arsenal, of course, who knows how to win.
Well, you forgot another Manchester club, talking about City, but not the best of weekends, even for Real Madrid. They will bounce back, do not worry.
I wish you the best of luck.
All right, let's begin straight away from the volleyball court as day 9 action of the 2025 Comptroller General of Customs Volleyball Premier League in Abuja on Sunday produced some interesting results, with Nigeria Police, Kano Pillars, CNS and Customs claiming victories in their respective games in the men's category, while NSCDC, Customs, Olalomi and CNS also impressed in the women's category. So far, it's been an interesting run for the male and female teams of the Nigeria Customs Service, who have set a target of winning in both categories after a summer overhaul. The Comptroller General of Customs, Bashir Adewale Adeniyi, was at the Indoor Sports Hall to see some live games on Sunday, while also supporting the Customs teams who have won their respective games.
I would like to appreciate the CGC for the encouragement, and today we really appreciate his presence to witness our match. I think it really boosts our morale.
His support has been overwhelming, and with his reformed policy that he needs a team that can of course compete at the African level and of course beyond the shore of Africa. So that is what we are trying to actually build up.
Was very impressed with what he saw. We are happy that this is how they are playing. We still have matches to go, and we believe that the team will do better and then start preparing for next phase onwards towards the club championships.
All right, away from the volleyball court to the football pitch now, as 5 match-day 6 games of the Nigeria Premier Football League were decided at different venues on Sunday, with 2 away wins and 2 draws recorded. The battle of newcomers in Owerri went in favor of visitors Barrow FC, who secured their first win of the season with a 3-1 victory over Kun Khalifa, courtesy of Ibrahim Yaya's brace at the Warri Township Stadium. Shooting Stars made it back-to-back wins as they came from a goal down to stun host Warri Wolves 2-1. In Lafia, Nasarawa United proved too strong for Katsina United with a 2-0 victory, while Ikorodu City and Ayimba drew 1-1. And of course, it was a day of mixed results for Nigeria on the continental level, as on Sunday, Rivers United secured their passage to the next round of the CAF Champions League after beating Aglo du Congo 1-0 to advance 1-0 on aggregate, courtesy of Steve Moya's 46th-minute goal. Kwara United and Abia Warriors were, however, not lucky as they lost their respective games to crash out. In Abeokuta, Asante Kotoko ran out 1-0 winners against Kwara United to advance 5-3 on aggregate, while Abia Warriors also lost by the same margin to Joliba to lose 1-2 on aggregate. And away from Nigeria to the English Premier League, where Gabriel's 96th-minute header sealed a dramatic 2-1 victory for Arsenal at Newcastle to close the gap on Liverpool to 2 points. Substitute Mikel Merino had headed Arsenal level with 6 minutes of regulation time to cancel out Nick Votemad's first-half opener. Earlier at Villa Park, Aston Villa secured their first Premier League win of the season after coming from a goal down to beat Alex Iwobi's Fulham 3-1. The last match of Week 6 comes up on Monday between Everton and West Ham United. And of course, that does it on Sports Tonight. Let's return to Claire, who's still celebrating Arsenal's victory.
Well, Barry, thank you. You know, we get engrossed with the Premier League that we forget our own. So we just keep our fingers crossed for Rivers and Kwara United in their CAF outings. Thank you, Barry.
You're welcome.
All right, let's check out the weather forecast for Monday across Nigeria.
Come to the weather update. As we look ahead to Monday's forecast, the bulk of the rainfall activity is expected across the southern parts of the country, where thunderstorms accompanied by moderate rainfall are likely during the morning and evening hours. Further north, the north-central cities are likely to experience isolated thunderstorms with light rain showers extending into portions of the north, areas such as Adama, Taraba, Kaduna, Kebbi, southern Sokoto, and southern Zamfara. And that's the weather update. But remember to stay informed and stay safe. Thank you for watching.
And that ends the news segment on Newsline. Fasten your seatbelts. We're about to take off in a moment.